Okay, Mike, you've just come back from the Commonwealth Champs in Samoa.
Yeah.
Why don't you start off, just tell us about your lead up to it and what went well, what didn't go so well. Just give us a flavour for how it all went.
So training in the lead up was probably the best training I've had in my life. I was moving the best I've ever moved. The standards were right up there. We didn't take a step for probably 2 months for a whole training block, didn't take a step and didn't have a miss on anything. It was brilliant. The weights were going up. I snatched 22 from blocks, first time snatching over 20 ever. It was all moving in the right direction. And then one random session, did a power snatch and my wrist went. So what they think happened was the cartilage got pinched in the wrist. And yeah, so I thought it put me out. So I went and saw the physio and they said, it's not completely broken, but we can get you to the championships on time. And so we had to manage training around that, which was really based around squatting, pulling. So all I did for 3 weeks was squat and pulling. So we made a plan of action just to squat and pull, and eventually, hopefully, the wrist would be fine on comp day and be able to lift okay.
And do you think that had any mental impact going into the competition with, seeing as you received an injury like halfway into your training for the comp? Do you think that mentally affected the competition in any way?
Oh, definitely, because I was on such a hype that training had been the best it's ever been. I was lifting more weights than I've ever done before, and then for it all to come to a grinding halt, thinking, am I even going to be able to lift on comp day? It's quite tough, but through my own belief and everyone around me in training, who believed I could get there, believed that I could do what I wanted to do, which was to get a medal and get to comp day on time and in the best shape possible. And on comp day, all I had in my head was do the weights, get a medal, come home and be fucking proud.
Class. Okay, so you've received an injury to your wrist, then you're flying out to New Zealand for a training camp.
Yeah.
Talk me through where you were at in terms of your injury and in general how the New Zealand trip was before going to Samoa.
Okay, so my wrist, as of 5 days before flying, was liftable. I was snatching 70k and cleaning, no jerks. And we were like, fuck, okay. We got to get there on time. So we flew out to New Zealand, doing a little bit of lifting, not really doing much. And probably the first time I snatched 100 was out there, which is about 12 days out from competition. So the first time I did any sort of snatching, it was a bit like, wow, okay, we're a bit close. But I know my body takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then we're there. New Zealand trip was good. We had got some good training done. We stayed in the National Training Centre, which is brilliant with all the recovery places. And yeah, it was a really good trip, to be honest. Team was good.
Okay, so you've how long were you in New Zealand for?
We were in New Zealand for about a week, 10 days maybe, and then we flew out to Samoa then.
And what were your first impressions of Samoa?
It was bloody hot. It's like the hottest place I've ever been. It was ridiculous. It felt...
How hot?
How hot's hot? Pretty bloody hot. I had my heaviest day out in No, I didn't. I had my heaviest day out in Samoa, and I was sweating buckets. It was ridiculous. I had to go up to 1540, which was openers, and it was about 32 degrees and about 96% humidity. Ridiculous. Never sweated so much, drunk so much in training in my life. I was training with Gareth that day, and I started training. I lifted one set with a bar, and it looked like I'd been sprayed in bloody baby oil. It's ridiculous.
Okay, that's good. And then talk me through your taper. Did everything go well in the lead up to the comp? Or?
Apart from my wrist being bloody sore every day, so I've had to prime the wrist every day. It was awful. But other than that, the taper was great. Did everything I needed to do. Hit all my weights, didn't take a step. Made all my snatches, all my cleans, all my jerks. Didn't take a step on anything, like I said. It was pretty perfect, to be honest. I was losing weight okay. I had to go without carbs for a couple of days, but that's just weightlifting. You've got to lose the weight. And then I was lucky because I lose the weight early, so I was able to carb up for about 2 days leading into the competition, which I think benefited me. I had a bit more energy then in the days leading up to the competition, which I thought I benefited from.
Competition time.
Yeah.
You weighed in, then what?
So I weigh in, stood there in the weigh-in room. I find the geezer who I'm closest to and I just look him in the eyes and just start staring at him for a good 5 minutes. He gets freaked out, starts looking at his coach. So I start looking at his coach then, which was bloody brilliant. Then we bugger off back to have a bit of a chill, listen to some music.
Choice of music?
Choice of music was Adele.
Yeah.
Try and get me a bit pumped. Okay. And then we went back to the warm-up room. So I shared a platform with Gareth, and so outside the room was Wales, the other side of the room was India and Nauru and all the other bloody countries. And we had our own fan, which was good because it was bloody boiling in there.
Okay, so talk me through your warm-up. Did everything go well? What jumps did you take?
So my warm-up for snatches wasn't ideal. So we made a plan of action because it was so hot in there to reduce our warm-up down as to save energy, and we didn't want to cramp up, which was fine. I thought, yeah, agree, that sounds great. As it happened, I think I didn't take enough warm-up sets. I took 1 set at every weight for singles, and it wasn't really ideal. So when I was on the platform, I didn't honestly feel that ready. And then I went out and pinged 115 above my head and just went over the back.
You overpulled it?
Overpulled it.
Okay.
So what was I feeling then? I was just a bit more annoyed at myself because I know open is very, very important, and it was silly. And I was just thinking about what I wanted to take next. I wasn't really focusing on the moment itself, which I think not ideal. So I went out for my second, and then I underpulled it, I undercooked it. Which made me quite angry. That's probably the angriest I've been in a competition because I know how far I've come. I've got to comp day, I've had a bad race, I've recovered it. I'm there now, I've got to make the most of it, and I wasn't showing my best out on the platform. So then I went out for my third and I smoked it, and I was like, for God's sake, that was so easy. There's a lot more there today. But there's no point looking back at that in the competition. So I just went on and moved in clean jerks.
Okay, so you've missed your first 2 attempts on a snatch.
Yeah.
Tell me what you were saying to yourself, how you were looking at the process, and how you sort of got yourself into the right frame of mind to make the third one.
So my thoughts and feelings were that I know I've done these weights a million times. It's ridiculous to think that I can't go out on a platform somewhere new and do it. I know I'm better than that in myself. I just want to go out there and display it. I didn't really need motivation externally from anyone else. It can all come from within me. I know what I can do. I know my worth. I just thought I needed to present it on the platform.
Awesome. And then clean jerks, different story, or?
So my clean jerks was a bit strange. So I thought my snatch warm-up went well, even though I didn't take enough snatches. But then for my clean jerks, didn't feel great. Again, we took our warm-ups down. I probably had 1 at each weight. And I took bigger jumps than I'd be used to. So I think I took a 10, 25, 25, 35. And the 25, 35 nearly buried me. I caught it dead at the bottom. I had to come out and then jerk it. The jerk was fine, but the clean wasn't ideal. But I had a bit more rest between my 25 and 35 than I would have liked. But then again, in the competition, that sort of stuff happened. So I was happy enough. Ray asked me, are you happy to take 40? Yep, brilliant. I knew I could smoke 40. There was no issues with that. So I go and sit down then, ready to go on the platform. All I'm thinking about is extending at the top and catching up with a strong chest, and then I'll worry about the jerk afterwards. So that was what I was thinking when I sat down, really. Nothing apart from that. I think any other influences when you sat before you're taking your lift, you don't need any. You just need a bit to focus on 1 or 2 things at most. And for me, that's extending and catching strong.
Okay, so, and then talk me through your second and third attempts. How did they go?
So I make 40, easy enough. I jerk a bit sideways because my wrist is buggered. I can't really jerk straight, but it is what it is. It's competition day. What are you going to So I sit down, I get asked, what do I want to take next? I'm like, I haven't really thought about this yet. I don't know, 45 maybe. So okay, we'll do 45. And then my main competitor on the day, so the person who was closest to me at the end, the boy from Nauru, I think he was, he took 45. So I said to my coach, I was like, how about we take 46? He was like, it doesn't really matter. I was like, but I want to beat him. He's like, okay, whatever. So he comes back, right, we're taking 46. Then go on the platform. And at this point, my head's a bit like, what's going on? And I go out and miss the cleans. I'm thinking about the jerk. I'm not thinking about, like I said before, I'm not focusing on my clean, which I think is not ideal at all. Which I think is the reason why I missed that. So I miss the clean there. I go and sit back down and think, I know I got to make this now to get a medal, and that really fired me up. Without that stimulus, I don't think I wouldn't have woke me up and be ready for what was to come, which it turns out to be that was a lift to win a medal and take a medal home for my country. So my third attempt then went out and took 46 again, nailed the clean, and then I remember popping the jerk, taking a breath, and just knowing I was going to make it. It's a weird feeling when you know you're going to make this jerk just by the way it sat on your shoulders, but the room went silent, couldn't hear anything. I was just looking at my point in the wall, which was a fire exit, little green thing. Took a breath, and I just felt my back knee drop, and I knew I made it. And it was a really good feeling.
A good feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come away with a silver medal.
Yeah.
The best result that you've ever had in a competition.
Yep.
At an international level. You've lifted for your country.
Yep.
On what you could describe as a mixed bag, as a sequence of lifts, but a good result as a medal. What advice would you give a young lifter aspiring to get to your position as an international lifter? What advice would you give them going forward?
Going forward, I think number one, you've got to dig in for training. That's where anything's won or lost already. So you're 5-6 months away from a competition. You got to dig in. You got to do your sessions twice a day, every day. You got to make sure you're not taking a step. You got to keep your standards. Without that, you're not setting yourself up for anything really. You're setting yourself up for failure, even if you get selected for a competition. Number two, on competition day, focus. Ultimately, your body's going to be what your body's going to be on the day. You've had your taper, you've eaten what you've eaten, you're fueled up. You can't change that on competition day, but you can change your mind, you can change your focus, and your level of focus ultimately is what's going to decide your outcome on the day. And then thirdly, I think just fire and passion. Go out there, lift for F&P. Yeah.
Okay, so any plans going forward? What have you got coming up, Mike?
So coming up, we've got the Welsh Open, which I'm going to lift at 73 for the first time. Just have a bit of a lift, probably break some British records because there's nothing there. And then my bigger competition for the year, it's probably my last big one, will be the European Under-20s, where I'm hoping for a top 5 finish, and I'm hoping to push in the 20s on the snatch and in the early 50s the clean and jerk. And maybe, depending on how the competition goes, have a look in for an individual medal, maybe on snatch.